Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily is part of the Modern Grower Podcast Network. Check out some of our other shows like Carrot Cash Flow, the Growing Microgreens Podcast, and Farm Small, Farm Smart. Learn more about the shows using the link below.
Yeah, there really is sort of this compounding, cascading effect to, it sort of is checking all the boxes that everyone's always trying to check. We're, creating jobs or supporting local jobs. We're feeding people who are insecure. We're providing income for other folks. We're injecting money into local economies. We're keeping money in local economies. It's really doing everything that it needs to do. And that's extremely wonderful. Where does this money come from?
That's a great question. And that's the sticky part that I referenced earlier. Right now, Wholesome Wave Georgia is largely reliant on federal funds to run our SNAP doubling program. With that funding potentially on the line, in addition to over $300 billion in SNAP cuts that are, on the line, the Senate is actively debating this. They should vote on the budget by the end of this month, which is the goal. Who knows if they'll actually get there.
So actually, by the time this episode airs, that vote will probably have already happened. So
let's manifest really positive.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. So in that vote for the big, beautiful bill does include not only that, the proposed $300 billion in SNAP cuts, but also cuts to federal programs that support the SNAP doubling, and other federal programs that support, similar work that Wholesome Wave Georgia is doing, whether it's through the USDA, whether it's through the CDC, NIH, Veterans Affairs. There's a bunch of different federal streams that are, really getting behind this idea that food is medicine, food is a right, food is something that we as a country need to be investing in. Because when you think about fruits and vegetables are considered specialty crops by the USDA. Blows my mind. That's so rare that a farmer grows fruits or vegetables that can be directly consumed, that don't need to be processed at a high level, like corn, wheat, soybeans, even your meat products, that need to be processed. And so my hope is that this continues to be funded through the federal government. Wholesome Wave Georgia also receives very, very generous support. We are so grateful for the support of individual donors and foundations. And they are, really the lifeline that comes in and supports all of the areas that are not sustained by federal funding. Yeah, that's where we are right now.
Yeah, that's a very sobering reality. Ideally, it would be like, yeah, we don't know. It just keep going to the bank account and more money just keeps popping up. We don't know where it's coming from, and it just keeps rolling. But yeah, the reality of it is most of these programs, whether it's just regular food assistance through SNAP, if that's on the line, yet alone being able to double it, it's a very touch and go sort of thing. So if you are listening and we always say with different things like contact your senators, contact your representatives, talk to people who have influence and the ability to sort of like sway, and not even just like going all the way to the top, but just being able to talk to people who that carry a level of influence, who can, create bigger waves of influence and so on and so forth. I think just constantly having this conversation about food access kind of in the mainstream, talking about public health, talking about the quality of the food, the ingredients that we're putting in our food, the more that we talk about it, the bigger sort of whistle that we blow, so to speak, or, bell that we ring, it just becomes it becomes even more of a sort of socially acceptable thing to move toward. Because I think for a long time, talking about, high quality fruits and vegetables and so on and so forth, and buying from a local farm, it's like, okay, you hippie, like we get it. But it's like the majority of us are just going to the Piggly Wiggly or to the Kroger and we're doing it. And the reality of it is it's like more and more people, like the type of person who is coming to the farmer's market and seeing our little sign from certified naturally grown and saying like, oh, so you don't grow with any chemicals? Ah, perfect. I've been reading this or saw something on Instagram. Like there is like a tide is turning in this country, sort of from the ground level up, of people really beginning to care about where their food comes from, who's growing it, how they're getting it, and what's in it. I think it both takes farmers, it takes organizations like you guys, and just individual shoppers and consumers to all take part in keeping the ball rolling. This is not something that we just sort of set and forget, and the clock gets going once it gets wound up. But this is like a constant, like we have to keep this momentum going, because this is not going to just roll on for all of eternity.
I agree. And I think that, yes, contact your representatives, your elected officials, but also start having conversations with people that to say, hey, what happens if this safety net program goes away? How do we use the resources that we have within our communities to continue to support this? If SNAP doubling goes away, is this something that your local city can allocate funds to supporting? Is this something that your farmers market can have a fundraiser around? I think that there's so much that can be done on a grassroots level to care for our neighbors in our own backyards. And it's very important to do that now more than ever.
Did you know if you're a farmer, you can get your low tunnels paid for by the NRCS? Through a recently launched government program, farmers can get between $4 and $5 per square foot in reimbursement towards a Quick Hoops low tunnel system. That's free money to help increase production on your farm. Learn more about Quick Hoops and the NRCS program at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.